Before the video starts, I would like to thank YESWELDER for sending me this welder. It was a return, and their policy says that they are not allowed to resell them, but they asked me if I'd like to do a review on it. So this is going to be non-biased. I will give my 100% truth on how I like the machine and see what comes within the box. Hi, today I'm going to be reviewing the MIG 205 DS. It is the 110 and 220 volt. It's a multi-process welder, so it can do MIG, stick, and scratch start TIG. This is the unit itself. It's a lot bigger than the smaller TIG 205 DS that I have, but it is also very nice. It is able to fit the 10-pound spools and the 2-pound spools in case you want to do a little bit or a lot. It comes with a crimped gas hose, so you can hook up your gas that you need, so either CO2 or 75-25 mix. It also comes with your user's manual. It has a stinger because it can do stick. It does not come with a TIG torch though, but you can get those pretty cheap on their website. It comes with a pretty long ground clamp. Ground clamp is very heavy duty. It has the braided copper in the middle, so you get a nice ground. It also comes with the MIG gun, and the MIG gun does come off, so when you're not using the MIG gun, if you're doing stick, you can take it off. It has the, I believe it's European style connector, and it also screws on very easily. And the gun itself, in the bottom, it has this ball, so it kind of rolls around. It also has a spring here so that it doesn't get bent too much. It also has a metal spring so it doesn't get bent too much there. It's a very nice feeling gun. It's not too small or too big. But to start welding, yesterday I picked up this 035 MIG solid wire from Hobart. I got that at Tractor Supply. Then I also got the 030 gasless flux core that we can try out today. I never used this before, but people have recommended this nozzle gel. You just take your nozzle and dip it in, and I believe it prevents a lot of spatter from getting stuck onto it and ruining it. I got my 2 tips. I labeled them in the bag. These are the Hobart tips, and they do fit on the gun. So if you just run down to your local Tractor Supply, you can pick those up. I also got a pair of these, they call them Welpers, Welding Helpers. They have this smaller, kind of like pliers in the middle. They could take off your contact tip. And this bigger one down here can be used to remove your nozzle. And there's also a wire cutter. And if you put it in where the long way goes up to the tip and you cut it, it cuts very easily, and it leaves you the right amount of tip contact to work distance. It also has pliers to help clean out some of the gunk and fix anything that you need to. It also comes with a separate drive roll for when you're doing different kinds of welding or with bigger or smaller wire. I'm going to test the stick welding capabilities with this is a smaller 6010. That's what I had tested. This is an 1/8 inch 7018. This is another 1/8 inch 6011, and then an 1/8 inch 6013. We'll see how it runs these rods on a practice plate. So let's take a look on the driving and the front of the welder. This is the side of the welder. It has this nice door. Mine was kind of bent up, but that was just from shipping. That wasn't from them. All I had to do was bend this piece in, and now it works nicely. It's got 2 plastic hinges, but I don't think the plastic's a problem. It is a metal case, and you just pull down on this, and it opens. Very nice, smooth door. It also closes very nicely. It says YESWELDER on it. Inside, we have the driving mechanism. It's okay since we have this nut. Some of them have a wing nut on them, but this all comes off. I'll have to look up how to put this on properly, so I can show you how to do it properly. But this is also really nice is that the drive roll that it has, it is numbered so you can choose your tension, but just by twisting the knob. But if you open it up, this is spring loaded. You can adjust everything. I believe right here is your, just unscrew it. Should be where you keep your wheel. Yep, to choose which size wire you'd like. But this is a metal part. Some of the cheaper welders have plastic, but this one's metal. It's really nice. So you would just simply unscrew that knob and be ready to go. I'll show you how to set up the wire and put it in there. This is the back of the machine. It has the hose where you can put your gas in, on-off switch. I did see that this one turns on immediately when you turn on the switch. As soon as you flick it on, it turns on. The TIG 205DS has a small startup time, but it's not bad. This is your duty cycle. So you see it has, I'll be running it at 110. So it's got 60% duty cycle at 160 amps, which is really good. And at 123, which is probably where I'm gonna be at, it's 100% duty cycle, so I can go nonstop. It's got a 60% duty cycle for 220 volt at 205 amps, which is really good. So I'm very excited to see. Here's the front of the machine. This is where you will plug in your gun. It just goes in there as you line it up, turn it on. Down here, it has this stuck on, but this is for when you want to choose whether you're doing MIG or flux core. And it can also be removed if you want to put your ground clamp and stinger in there to do stick. And I believe it is negative for when you're doing flux core, and then you put it over to the positive end when you're doing MIG. I'll confirm that later when I do it, so then you do not mess it up. But that's just what I think. It does have the plus and the minus. Up here is the face of the machine. It has the guard. So when you turn it on, you have all these different features. This one chooses which gas you have, so you just press this, or this one would choose the wire size. Over here, if you press this, it can go from MIG CO2, MAG, which I believe is the mix, stick, TIG lift, and then gasless. It also has a 2T, 4T, and the 2T, so when you just pull on the trigger, it starts. When you let go, it stops. 4T, you would just tap the trigger once, it keep going, and to stop it, you'd tap it again. This is where you can read the amperage, which is kind of okay, because if you're up here, you can't really read it that well. But on the welding cart that I have, it could be angled up, so then you can read that better. And then over here, if you press this, you can cycle between your amps, volts, inductance, which I'm not too sure what it is, and I believe that is wire feed speed, all with the knob. Okay, we're going to put our wire in now. I'm going to start with the gasless flux core. And the key with this kind of wire is, as soon as you take it out of the packaging, right here, you can see it's hooked on. And once you unhook that, you don't want to let go. You have to set your tension. Otherwise, it will unspool and you'll have to try and respool it, which is very difficult. So again, this is Hobart wire, but YESWELDER does sell their own kind of wire on their website that you can purchase. There we go. So now we have our wire spool. So this one looks like it'll spool up with the spool upside down, so you can go into the drivetrain. I'm going to pop that up just to prepare. It looks like it goes into here. So I'm going to take off my wire. Well, after I do that, I first want to plug in the machine. So I'll just plug this into a 110 outlet. it on. The fan is running at all times, but that's fine. So we're going to take off our spool. It's a little hard. I do have my finger on the bottom, so I'm keeping tension. I also like to snip off the wire. So you have a nice fresh piece of wire to use. I'm going to begin feeding it in here, just to get it started. Then I believe you put the spring on. And smaller. Okay. So now we're going to believe this goes on this way. So that creates a lot of tension. Looks like this can be used to tighten it. As you can see, my spool is not spooling out anymore. So now that I have that in place, I will show you up close of how to put the wire in. Okay, so when you put your wire in, there's this little spring you put it into. You have to release this drivetrain, otherwise it won't feed in. And it comes out right here. What you want to do is try and push it in that hole. Then after that, you'll make sure that it's in this little groove in this wheel. You'll close this, you'll set your tension. It has those little numbers on there. I'll let you know what mine's set at. So I'm gonna put that in there right now, and I'll get back with you guys. Here's that weld I just did with the flux core. Is this one right here. It's pretty good. It's kind of hard to see at first because I have my helmet set pretty low, so it's kind of flashing me, but at the end right there you can see it's got good penetration, good heat. So let's try stick welding. Breaker. I do only have these small breakers. There we go. Back on. I turn my amps down a little bit. After you reset your amps, it blinks a little bit, just to let you confirm. Here's a real test. Here's a pretty small 60-10. Some welders can't do these rods. Alright, clean those off in front of you guys. Alright, here's the welds. This first one was a 7018 right here. That one came out pretty nice. I really liked how they started. Up here is my, I believe that was, check real quick. So we went 7018 to a, say, 6011. The 6011, it was harder to start. You do have to do the whip and pause, which I was starting to do at the end. I started to do a little bit better, but those still came out pretty nice. This next one is a 7013. You can see that one came out pretty well. I like the 7018 and the 6013. They're very flowing, so you don't have to whip and pause, but I just like how they look when they come out. Here's the 6010. This one was a lot harder. It didn't really want to start. It can weld it, it's just not the best. I'd recommend you get one that's actually a stick welder for 6010. But other than that, I think it did pretty well with stick. So now we can try using our solid wire. The only problem is that I don't have a mix gas or CO2, so we're gonna try it with just argon. All right, these are my 3 short circuit. So as you can see with the argon gas, they do penetrate, but it's not as much if you had a CO2 mix, so it kind of sits on top. Try and run some more for you guys to see. But the bottom one that you see there, that was me just running it normally. The top one is me kind of going slowly with the I do like lowercase e's. And then the middle one was me doing my normal speed. But you can see they came out pretty nice. I didn't even clean them off. This is just from right after they're done welding. I'll run a few more on the back so you guys can get a better look, see what kind of gas settings are better. I'm gonna try running it around 20 CFH, maybe 15. So I'll let you guys know. All right, right now we are inside my Lincoln 3350 helmet. I'm gonna try and show you what it looks like when I'm running some small beads. Trying to show the clarity there. That's not very good, but you can see at the end there, I was holding it down pretty good, and it really got penetration. So that's what it looks like through my helmet. I run some nice beads so you guys can see what those look like. My gas is at 15 CFH, so I'll see how that makes it look. All right, so here we have some beads. This first one on my left is going straight down. Or no, that one was vertical. The one on the right was downhill. Let's top one, I was kind of experimenting with the speeds. The middle one, that one I just kind of ran normally. This one I ran pretty fast. This one I didn't do the lowercase e kind of technique to show you how these ones are more like uniform and this one's kind of squiggly. But this does run MIG very well. I'm very happy with this, but just keep your nozzles clean. It's just this nozzle gel, just called nozzle gel. This is the Hobart brand. So all you would do, take your MIG gun. Doesn't really matter if there's wire sticking out. You just take it and dip it in, take it out. Since this one's kind of hot, it drips out a little bit. But that'll keep the inside of your gun nice and clean. And I just really like this welder. I do have it on this one power strip, which has a pretty small breaker. So you did see in the stick welding part that it did trip the breaker. But if you're doing small stitch welding, just like this on a 15 amp breaker, you're fine. The only time I had it trip while I was doing this was because I went this one, then that one, and I did that one all after each other. And the machine didn't shut off, the breaker went off. And if you are going to use the 100% argon gas, I would highly suggest that you put it in mag mode, because mag is, it's this one right here. And so that is set up for 75% argon, 25% CO2. So I think it runs it better. But I plan on getting a mix soon, so I can show you guys really good MIG welding, but these are super well. I'm very happy with these. So, give you my full review. All right, so that was me MIG welding, flex core welding, and stick welding, all with the MIG 205 DS by YESWELDER. I do like this machine. I think it ran pretty good beads. I really do like the MIG part. MIG was also one of my favorite processes to use in school when I was learning. They do have a wide variety of these guns that you can get. And so you can get ones with a flexible neck, maybe a bigger rated gun. I like this gun. I think it's nice. It is plastic, especially right here, but I don't think it's a problem. In between cuts, I did drop it, but as you saw, it had no problem running it. If you are going to stick weld with it, I highly suggest using either a 7018 or a 6013. These 6013s, they call them a farm rod because they could be used anywhere, any position, anybody can weld to them. So those are very nice to use. I would highly suggest getting these also because they're cheaper. So you can get like a, I think it's a 5-pound canister of them for 20 bucks. Maybe like 15, while a 1 pound would be 15 for these. But it did somewhat run 6010, which is pretty impressive. It wasn't that good, it wasn't super smooth, but some machines won't even really strike an arc with that one. For lighting, I was using this just Harbor Freight light where you press it. But if you do have this machine, I'd actually recommend finding one of these. Sometimes they go on sale. I got this one for free. And just sticking it up inside this door. And as you can see, I did put it on my Harbor Freight welding cart. And the thing that's really nice about this is some welders I've seen, they open the door like that. So there's a problem with that. But this one doesn't hit. You don't gotta worry about it. And I fit both of my welders on here, no problem. So that's really nice. I think it's a really good machine. I do recommend that if you do get it, get nozzle gel, because you don't want your nozzle getting destroyed. And also these welpers, they like to call them. It was like $20, maybe even 15, and they just work super well. And if you put your wire going into the deep end and cut it, it gives you the perfect length that you need, like that. You just put it in here, cut it, you get the perfect length. I've not seen the TIG on this machine yet. I will try and get a TIG torch for it, But all you need to do, if you're just doing it with the argon gas, you just need to switch the leads around. I have to see how that works. It is scratch start though, so you will have to scratch the tungsten to initiate it with the valve on the top, but that should be no problem. And that's about it. I really liked it, and I hope you guys got an idea of the clarity of this helmet. I do want to do future helmet reviews of other helmets. This is kind of my stick MIG TIG for right now, but I might just try and reserve it strictly for TIG since it's so clear, and also fabrication work. I do plan on making bed bars for my truck, as long as a back rack and a toolbox holder for my truck using the MIG feature for this. So I will have a video on that. I'll be cutting, making everything here in my garage. And it's so easy to switch out the wire. I think it took me a little bit at first to try and get that flux core rolling, but that was just because I was using the wrong dial in there. So you just gotta play around and find which one goes where, or even just look it up. And you can also ask someone and they'll tell you. But it's so easy to interchange. It's a pretty big machine, but yet it still fits on this cart with plenty of room over here. I'd recommend getting it. I really like it. Again, I'd like to thank YESWELDER for letting me do a review on this machine. It's very nice. So I'll catch you guys later.